to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things. And today I am giving you my August wrap-up. And interestingly enough, it is actually August 31st, and I have finished my last book for the month. So, you see my dog, y'all know the drill at this point, hopefully. If you hear sounds, see my dog, whatever, they're free spirits in this household, so I only have so much control. We're gonna start this video off with stats as always. So here we go. I read 59 books, which amounted to 18,840 pages, 461 hours listened, which is 19 days worth. 47 of them were audiobooks, 11 were ebooks, and 1 was a physical book. 18 of them were fantasy, 20 were queer, 6 were sci-fi, 6 were thrillers, 2 were horror, 1 was a contemporary, 4 was a historical, 6 was a retelling, and 12 of them were romances, for a grand total of 19 days worth of listening. I think I said that already, for an average rating of 3.6 stars out of 5. So we are going down each month. I think part of this was because of the childhood rereads, but we'll get into some of that. For age groups that I read 27 young adult, and shockingly enough, I read 29 adult books. So I did actually read more adult than young adult, which is a very rare occurrence for me. Then I read 3 middle grade books. When it comes to authors, I read 43 cisgendered authors, 31 white authors, 19 queer authors, 16 non-binary authors, 22 authors that were people of color, and 8 neurodiverse authors and 19 debut authors, which I think that's a pretty solid month, now that I'm thinking about it. I read a lot of romance for the sake of my romance reads week, which turned into 2 weeks because of my wisdom tooth removal, which kind of shook things up. I think that because of that, that kind of messed with my ratings, because those were pretty much either a 3-star or a 4-star, and only maybe 2 of them were 5 stars out of the many that I read. So I think that that maybe affected some of the reading ratings, but also finishing up the childhood rereads from Tamora Pierce, the last books that I read were all 3-star books and not higher rating. So I think that that definitely affected the outcome of my rating for the month, but you know. Now for our favorite part, my top 5 books of the month and then the worst book of the month. Now I will say normally I will put my top 3 regular books and then 2 arcs. Unfortunately, I did not read any arcs that I would include in this category, so that sounds way harsher than I mean for it to. I didn't read any that I would recommend at this time, so yeah, that's where I'm at. I did also DNF a book last month, so side note. Anyway, the top 5 books this month were starting with A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This was one of my most highly anticipated reads. It was the oldest book on my want to read on Goodreads, and it was worth it. It was really good. It was They Never Learn meets Plain Bad Heroines, which that is a reference that my friend Art made, but she's correct, so it was a good reference. And it was just a really good, very like, what the fuck is going on the whole time. Just the whole time I was very like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to spoil it because it is a thriller horror kind of vibe, but it is also sapphic, so that was really good. It was really, really good. So if you like those kinds of books, definitely check it out. Next is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. This surprised me. This book genuinely took me by surprise. I was cracking up listening to it the whole time and paying full attention, like 100% full attention to it. And I just genuinely enjoyed this book. It was really funny. The main character, Tristan, is an interesting and well-rounded character, especially for his age group. I think that he represents his age group really well. Gum Baby is the reason I picked this book up, and it was worth it. Absolutely correct, the best reason to pick it up. She's hilarious. The whole thing was just really good and taught me a lot about folklore that I had no idea about, and learning about the different folklore was really, really cool. Because sometimes I was one of those kids that growing up I would fixate on different cultures, lore and myth and deities and that kind of thing. a huge range of them, right? And hyper fixated on them. Weirdly, never read Percy Jackson as a kid though. And this was a lot of things that I had never heard of and hadn't even probably thought to look up because of how I was raised, or where I was raised, I guess. So that was just, it was very cool. I'm very glad that I read it. Next is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This one, so I've never read anything by this author, to be clear. And it is a sci-fi book that Art had been yelling at me to read, and I finally did read it. And it was really good. The funny thing is that I checked it out of the library, and then when I went to listen to it, I realized that it was in Spanish. So, and I don't speak Spanish. And the library did not have it in English, so I had it on hold for like weeks without realizing that it was in Spanish. So, good for me, you know, very solid of me. It was a really good sci-fi though. I will say, because I was listening to the audiobook, the robots' sounds scared the crap out of me. They're these cell phone sounding beeping noises, and it just threw me, just absolutely threw me and scared the crap out of me. But it was a really interesting book. Guy is in cryogenic sleep for 100,000 years and like wakes up and like, oh crap, he doesn't have his memory, but he like slowly starts to get things back, and it was just really interesting to see how things kind of evolved and where the story went, and I enjoyed it a lot. And if you like those kinds of stories, then yeah, especially with funny robots. Then we have The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. So Grady Hendrix wrote The Southerner's Guide to Vampire Slaying, which was actually one of my favorite books. It was a really good book, and it made me laugh a lot. And The Final Girl Support Group was also a really good book. There were moments that were absolutely, like, they were hilarious, but also terrifying. And I really like the way that this author manages to do that. So The Final Girl Support Group is about a group of your classic 80s final girls, except, you know, in real life. So what inspired those slasher films and that trope. And I just really liked the way that that was done, because, you know, we don't have that as much anymore. You know, we don't have the final girl as much anymore with serial killers and that kind of thing. So it was fun. I don't know. I feel like that's my adjective of the day. Sorry. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. The reviews are very hit or miss. And so if you like, think like Scream, the movie's Scream. So if you like those tropes and you liked Grady Hendrix's other book, you would probably like this book. If you don't like tropey horror movies, then you're not gonna like this book. Straight up, you're not gonna like it. It's very predictable. It is what it is. Like, but I had a fun time reading it, so. And then next is another art recommendation, which is A Psalm for the Wild Will by Becky Chambers. It's a very short little novella, and I can't stop thinking about it. I still think about it. It's about this monk that basically decides to like go find themselves, and they do, kind of. They start to make tea for everybody, and then they're like, no, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to find these like crickets. And then they find this robot, and robots aren't supposed to exist anymore, I guess. And they find this robot, and the robot ends up making them tea. I don't know. It's very sweet and very hard to explain like why it was very sweet, but if you like heartwarming sci-fis, this one's a short one. And I like Becky Chambers' writing in general. I like the way that Becky includes things regarding gender and that kind of thing without making it a whole thing. So just something I would recommend. Then yeah, that was all 5. So the worst book I read this month made me very sad, because I have the Illumicrate edition and it is absolutely beautiful. And I actually anticipated this book highly. I had very high expectations. It was so boring. Nothing I did made it more interesting. And that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. The first 25% of that book, amazing and very interesting. The only thing that I had issue with was the way that one of the main characters, Shu, talks about a eunuch's gender. It made me uncomfortable as a non-binary person. Now, the gender conversation is interesting in this book, I will give it that, but I was turned off because of the very first, like, 25% or something, the way that Shu reacts to the eunuch's lack of gender when he identifies still as a male. That and it was sexualized. It felt sexualized, and I didn't like it. And that's this underlying like conversation for the unit as a whole, but I didn't really like it. It made me uncomfortable. So that left a bad taste in my mouth, and then just trying to get through it was so hard, and there were so many characters. And like, I read adult historical, like political books. I read those. This is not new for me. I can keep up with large amounts of characters most of the time. But this was like, none of them were that interesting. And also, you're just kind of thrown into it. There's not a whole lot of like background on who anyone is. Like, the first 25% is Ju's story. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Ju's story, and so you think that that's what you're gonna get to read about, but then all of a sudden there's like 20 new characters. And who are they? I don't have any idea. I still don't know. I don't know who they are. Yeah, it has non-binary rep. Yeah, it has queer rep. But who were they? I could tell you their names, but who they were as a political player in the book, couldn't tell you. I kept confusing them because there was so many with such little explanation, and like, I felt like I was reading a history book. It felt like reading a history book on a subject that I didn't care about, or like a subject that I cared very intensely about one specific part of, and not all of the filler. And I hated that because I really wanted to enjoy this book, and I just didn't. It just fell flat for me, and I'm really sad about it because it was something I was anticipating highly, and it's a beautiful book. Unfortunately, I will probably be selling my copy or donating it to the library so that they can sell it in a sale, just, you know, because I'm not wasteful. But I'm really bummed about it. And you know, maybe that style of book is just not for me. So like, if historical, political, war-based books are for you, then you may enjoy this. I generally like those kinds of books, but this was not it for me. This was not it. Even my partner can attest to the fact that I would pick the book up and then read a page and then put it down and be like, nah, I'm bored. So yeah, that's unfortunate. But that's it. That's what I read in August. And now that was 10 below July, which is 10 below the month before. So I am slowly allowing myself to read slower. But I'm almost to 500 books for the year, which is just unfortunate, I think, because I cannot wait for someone to say some stupid shit. So, you know, there's that. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you didn't enjoy this video, let me know how I can do better in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share and do all of those things. Make sure the notification bell is on, because sometimes it unnotifies you. It turns it off for you. I don't know why. So make sure that that's turned on, and comment down below if you guys have read any of these books, or, you know, did you enjoy She Who Became the Sun? That would be cool. Like, let me know. Did you? Because maybe it's just me, and that would make me feel better, because I really wanted to like this book. So, you know, let me know down below. Don't forget to take your meds and drink your water and take care of yourselves. I will see you guys again on Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and again on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every week. Okay, thanks, bye.